What's up, gamers? Matt with That's Fair Podcasting and Gaming Geeks Live. And in this video, I'm going to bring to you what I would like to see as far as my top 3 games that I would love to see remade, remastered, however you want to put it. These are games that I've absolutely cherished throughout the course of my video game life, and I'll give you my top 3 with 3 honorable mentions. So these are video games that I myself would love to see remade and remastered, so stay tuned. You know, normally I'm against a remake or remaster of just about anything because it's so hard to replicate or even come close to what the original brought us. But in situations like these games that I'm going to talk about, I definitely have a change of heart with that one. Anyway, again, if you are new here, please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live, whichever you watch on what channel. Please like this video to send us into that algorithm. I really appreciate that. And if you don't do any of those things and you just sit here and watch the video and put up with the rambling, it really means the world to me, and I really appreciate it. So thanks for joining me. But again, Matt with That's Fair Podcasting and Gaming Geeks Live. And in this video, I'm going to talk about my 3, in my opinion, 3 games that I would love to see probably the most be remade and or remastered. Now, we have a slew of games coming out that we've already heard will be remastered and or remade. We have Fallout 3. We have Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and we have my all-time favorite video game ever, Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So these are games that are being remastered, remade, whatever you want to call it, but I'm looking forward to Fallout 3, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and KOTOR. But before I get started, I'm going to list my 3 honorable mentions in no specific order at all, and I'll start with a Rockstar game called Bully. I don't know what it was about that game that I found so goddamn just satisfying. I don't know what it was. You know, being mischievous, you know, I know he went around, he just caused all kinds of mayhem, he kissed as many girls as he could, and it was just kind of a fun, neat way of looking at school life in the eyes of a total reject. It was just a fun game. It was a nice take that Rockstar did, and I wouldn't mind seeing like at least a remaster on that one. A remake might be a stretch, but it'd be a fun remaster, and I think I could enjoy that. And that's just my first honorable mention. Again, no order. My second honorable mention, believe it or not, would be the first Dragon Age Origins. Not that it's not already a masterpiece, even though BioWare has seemingly destroyed that franchise completely. But, I mean, they shit on that franchise, but you know, the first one, Dragon Age Origins, is such a classic. It was just the start of something huge. And I would love to see it remade kind of like in the way Elder Scrolls Oblivion was remade, with updated graphics, updated engine, you know. And if anything, do it like they did with Mass Effect Ultimate Edition, you know, I don't know. But there's something they could do with the first Dragon Age that would probably bring us loyal BioWare fans back for another round of money burning, and I would be in line for that. So yes, I would love to see Dragon Age. I'd love to play the Grey Warden in some kind of remake. Or no, remaster on that one too. I don't know if I'd want that one remade. And the last one is a personal favorite of mine. I don't know if it was well received. I don't know how many of you guys even received it. Was Obsidian's Alpha Protocol. I enjoyed playing Michael Thornton as a Jason Bourne-esque or Jack Bauer from 24, or even a James Bond. You had 3 different approaches that, you know, kind of was built upon those 3, all the JBs. And, you know, you had Michael Thornton was an espionage agent, like the super agent. It was a fun game. I actually found it kind of fun. I thought some of the mechanics lacked, but what the mechanics lacked, I thought a story didn't lack. And, you know, like the surprise with Scarlet Lake and all these other surrounding characters that were in Alpha Protocol. So hats off to Obsidian. That's my favorite Obsidian game of all time. That, and of course Fallout New Vegas. But those 3, you know, in no specific order, would be Bully, Dragon Age Origins, and Alpha Protocol. Now to start my actual list of my 3 finalists at number 3. I'd like to see Star Wars The Force Unleashed remade and or remastered in the style of a Jedi Fallen Order, maybe. You know, the engine was ahead of its time when you started controlling Star Killer / Galen Merrick. The engine was ahead of its time, though, like, you know, with the picking up and the tossing of the stormtroopers and all these different things. It really, I think, paved the way for adventure games after its initial release. And I thought that LucasArts did a phenomenal job with Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and I love the story. I thought, you know, there was always something lacking a little bit. Maybe the animation during the cutscenes was a little wonky, but you know what? I mean, it was a masterpiece to me, and to see that remade, I mean, Disney will never consider that canon, which sucks, but I would love to see how Star Wars The Force Unleashed could stand the test of time being remade and or remastered. And Galen Merrick is in my top 3 all-time favorite Star Wars characters because I thought that it was a brilliant story. So at number 3, I would love to see Star Wars The Force Unleashed. That would be a huge one for me. Number 2 would be BioWare's Jade Empire. I think that a remake and remaster on that one. You know, don't change too much, but you know, some of the mechanics could be upgraded, but keep everything the same as far as the characters. Just upgrade the graphics, but give you more of a customized choice of your character. You know, maybe even, you know, instead of just picking presets, literally customize a character. I think that could be huge. You know, you had Dawnstar, you had other characters in there, and I'm drawing blanks on the name, but you know, you had a huge mythical, fantastical world in the Orient, and I just, man, I don't know, there was something about Jade Empire that just really took me, and I had to play it twice when I bought it. And I don't remember she's not a black ninja, but she was kind of dressed like one, and I don't remember her name. Yeah, Dawnstar and the other chick. I had to play with Dawnstar first, and then I romanced the other one. You know, I wanted to play it through, just see how the story, but I did it with 2 different characters too, because I had a DLC which had like a bald monk. I remember the first guy I played was more of your Bruce Lee looking guy with the dark hair and the, you know, the no shirt and the black kung fu pants. And then I had the second round was a DLC character of the bald monk. But you know, I had a blast. That game, I would love to see that remade or remastered, because the martial arts mechanics in that game just, it blew it away. And I still to this day find the replay value of that game pretty good, because even for a 2005 game on the regular Xbox, that game still delivers. And BioWare had a hidden gem. I wish they would have went somewhere with it. It's much like LucasArts. They have plans for a Star Wars Force Unleashed 3, which would have been different after the second one. It would have been more of an open world sandbox, but you know, Disney bought out Star Wars and completely ruined that franchise. So but yeah, same with Jade Empire. I would love to see them go elsewhere with that one, but you know, I think that they were probably having to put all their efforts into Mass Effect, that I believe would drop in 2007, 2 years after Jade Empire. But guys, Jade Empire, remake that one or remaster, or both on that one too. That would be badass. That it's one of my favorite games. And at number 1, you know, like I said, I can't add KOTOR in the mix because there's already a rumored and a lot of reveal that it is being remade. But number 1 is Saints Row 2. You know, Volition and THQ had a masterpiece with the first Saints that dropped in, I believe, 2006, and introduced badass characters like a Johnny Gat. You know, I loved Johnny Gat. But in Saints Row 2, Gat came along. You had Aisha, you had Shondi. You know, you saw Julius, but you know, you do the surprise beginning there. You know, you end up having to put a bullet in his head. But you had Carlos, and you know, you had some badass characters, and the gangs were awesome. You had the Ronin, you had the Brotherhood, and then you had the Sons of Samdi, and then you had Altor, ultimately at the end. But I just remember, like, me and my wife would system link that game and play that for hours upon hours upon hours, and it was just a blast. You could go into the mall and find the hidden clothing stores. You could go into On the Rag clothing stores, and it was so awesome. It was, you know, it was a spoof. It was hilarious. You know, you go into the cemetery in Stillwater. It was called Morning Wood, spelled M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, but still called Wood, Morning Wood. I mean, you know, like freckle bitches. You can't beat our meat. I would love to see a remake of Saints Row 2. I would be so psyched. I mean, I'm grinning because just thinking about it. But come on, I mean, who wouldn't want a Saints Row 2 at least remaster? You know, a remake might not be good because the Saints Row reboot was absolute piss. that came out in, I believe, 2022. No, so let's keep it away from that. But I think a remaster on Saints Row 2 would be the ultimate badass game. Make it co-op again too, or system. Well, you don't system link on these consoles, but still upgrade the engine and launch those. But in that order, number 1 is Saints Row 2, number 2 would be Jade Empire, and number 3 would be Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. These are games I would love to see the most remade, but I'm already happy with what's being rumored to be remade, so can't really complain. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to this video or watching. I'm sorry you had to put up with it, but if you did watch this whole, thank you so much if you watched it all. Again, please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or, Gaming Geeks Live. And like I said, or like the video to help us in that algorithm and get us more clicks. But if you didn't do that and you just watched this, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate it. And as I always say to you gamers, all love, and I am outro.